Okay, before the video starts, I kind of missed one important detail that's pretty quick to discuss, and that is that Aether Strikers can interrupt using either Heavy Strikes or using the Karma Breaker ability. How's it going, everybody? My name is OhDough. Hope you're having a pretty good day, and if you're not, you should be, because Aether Strikers are releasing today in Dauntless, and these weapons are a breath of fresh air. Aether Strikers are a weapon that actually wants you to do different combos to do more damage. Other weapons, they kind of want you to do the same combo because that combo just happens to be the best in slot, the one that does the most damage. Aether Strikers, on the other hand, want you to do different combos to actually reach different damage, and this is a very welcome change. It's a really new playstyle actually being not really enforced on you, but preferred to do to reach the maximum potential of these weapons. And if nothing else, it makes the weapon more interesting, fun, and rewarding to learn how to play. And speaking of learning to play, today I'll be trying to teach you guys how to play Aether Strikers and to understand the weapon, because when I first saw these, they were fun to play. It was fun to, smash buttons, but I didn't know what I was doing. And now I kind of know what I'm doing, so I'm going to hopefully show you guys what to do, and maybe you can learn a bit more than me and learn a bit faster. So the first thing I do when I see a new weapon in Dauntless is I go to the moves list and I check out what the moves are, the combos, and just all the other random stuff it might want to tell me. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and look at this just piece by piece. So starting out, we're going to have the basic attacks. We're going to have rapid strikes, which are when you press your light attack, and in this case, that's going to be your left click on PC, your square on PS4, and your Y on Xbox. I'm going to go ahead and Google that real quick, 1 second. Okay, so I'm back, and it's definitely not your Y on Xbox, it's your X on Xbox. So it's your X key on the Xbox for the rapid strikes. Now, rapid strikes are named that for a reason. This is a very fast and rapid attack to get off in a pretty short amount of time. And that being said, it's not the most damaging attack in the world, but it does, its fair share of damage. Your next basic attack will be called the Heavy Strike, and in this case it'll be right click on PC, triangle on PS4, and your Y key on the Xbox. And this attack, it's pretty slow to do, but it does a lot of stagger damage, and that makes up for the slow speed of the attack. So those are your basic attacks, and I cover them just so you guys can understand what the light attack is and what the heavy attack is, just because some folks might find it confusing. Now, moving on to the combos, these will also be pretty basic, but they're really important to understand, and what you do with them later is what makes the weapon pretty complicated. So your first combo will be called Focus Assault. This will also be your little eye, and that will be important later on. But this combo is going to be all light attacks. It'll be 3 light attacks, or in this case, rapid strikes. And this combo will probably be your fastest one to perform in the shortest amount of time you pretty much have, and that's a good thing because you get mantras from doing combos, which mantras will be explained later. I'm going to go ahead and get to all the combos first. Your next combo will be called Spirit Barrage, and this has 2 little eyes next to it. And to perform it properly, you must do a rapid strike followed by 2 heavy strikes. And even though it uses heavy strikes, this combo is still a very fast combo to execute, and it's even called a flurry of hits. Just keep in mind that heavy attacks do cost stamina to perform, and stamina is also what you use to dodge with, so that is, a pretty important thing to keep track of. Moving on to your third and final combo, this will be called the Mighty Squall, which is a pretty cool name. This has 3 little eyes, and this combo is done by doing 3 heavy strikes. And this will cost stamina for every single strike, but these are very powerful strikes, and doing this combo is very useful if you're close to staggering a behemoth, because the Aether Strikers are a blunt weapon type, and that just means they do 133% extra stagger damage and are strong against armor on behemoths like Scarn Armor, which is pretty much the only example in Dauntless that I think exists right now. Okay, so far I've explained basic attacks and how combos are performed, but now it's time to explain what combos generate once you complete one. And that'll be something called a mantra. Every single combo generates a mantra, and to explain this, the Focus Assault combo generates a Focus Mantra, the Spirit Barrage combo generates a Spirit Mantra, and the Mighty Squall combo generates a Might Mantra. These mantras are generated by doing combos, but to get them, you only have to land the final hit in a combo. Not every single hit in the combo, just the final hit. Doing so gives you a mantra for the specific combo you finished, and that can be used to use techniques or a surge ability. And this is around the part where it's going to get a little complicated to discuss and explain how all this works, but I'm going to try my best. The surge and technique abilities are both tied to your special for the Aether Strikers, and to use these abilities you must generate a mantra. After doing so, you can use either your push button for your special, in which case you can do a surge. This is going to be a dash that damages nearby enemies and refreshes your mantra timer. That's a very important thing to keep track of. Now your techniques, these are going to be your holds for your special. So the first will be Tempest Form. this requires one mantra. It doesn't matter the order of the mantra it's generated, it just uses one mantra. And this is going to be Focus Energy, increasing attack speed for a long duration. That is a pretty good buff. It lasts around 30 to 35 seconds, which is a pretty long time. The second technique would be called Karma Breaker, and this is where you strike forward, damaging the first target hit and dealing damage over time for a long duration. And again, this duration lasts for around 30 to 35 seconds, which is a pretty long time, and the tooltip does not lie. Now the third and last technique is actually based on the special we have equipped for the Aether Strikers. In this case, the basic special is called Adamant Bolt. This is where you unleash energy in a focus blast, damaging the first enemy hit, deals bonus damage when Tempest Form and Karma Breaker's effects are active. So Tempest Form and Karma Breaker are your previous mantras, and both of these increase the damage of your final mantra, which is a nice little feature. It makes you do all the combos and not just focus on spamming the last one until you have their effects active. So a basic way to explain how Aether Strikers work is like this. You do combos to generate mantras to use techniques, but you can't just use the easiest combo to generate all your mantras. That's because mantras are unique to combos, and if you only use one combo, you will only have the mantra that combo generates. To keep track of this, keep an eye on the buff bar in game. And the little eyes next to the combos and on the buff bar are important because they tell you which combo you've completed and what mantras you have active. So this is going to be a very vital resource when playing the Aether Strikers. And before I forget, mantras do not last forever. Mantras have a pretty short timer, and to refresh this timer, either do the same combo you just did, do a new combo, or use your Surge ability, which again is a dash that damages nearby enemies and refreshes your mantra timer. So that's pretty much how you play these weapons, but now it's time to discuss how you unlock them in the first place. Unlike most other weapons, Aether Strikers are not unlocked off the bat. In this case, you actually have to go through the quest line similar to the repeaters and get them that way. And the Aether Strikers are near the quest, the City on the Verge. Before you complete this, you'll get a quest from Katerin Sorrel, and the quest itself will be called the Meet the Master. And all you have to do once you get it is go meet the Master. Kat would like you to meet the Scarred Master and learn about the Aether Strikers. That's pretty much all the quest is about. And once you get it, you just go talk to the Scarred Master, who's located near all the other smithies. And just in case you guys can't find the Scarred Master, just look for the, I don't know, the giant new building with the glowing orb in the middle that has a question mark above it. That's where the Scarred Master is going to be at. And once you talk to her, you turn in the quest called Meet the Master, and this will give you the Recruit Strikers and the Adamant Bolt special. At this point, you should now have access to the Strikers and the ability to craft them, and just understand that the Strikers have the exact same progression as other weapons like the sword, axe, hammer, all those things. And just like crafting has a similar function and flow to other weapons, your mastery will have the same thing. And most notably, you'll have a special and some mods to get from doing your mastery, and a really cool title called the Raging Demon, or it's actually called Raging Demon, which is a pretty cool title if you ask me. But let's go ahead and take a look at what you get in terms of power from your masteries going in order. So the first important item is unlocked at level 6 in your masteries, and this is a mod called Cyclonic Strike Plate. This is where Tempest Form's duration is increased by 10 seconds, and when Tempest Form has less than 10 seconds left, it'll deal 15% extra damage. The next item is at level 8, and this is a special called Titan's Crash, which is a really cool name for it. It's a really nice name. Anyway, this special is where you unleash energy forward in a pressure wave, damaging nearby enemies, and it deals bonus damage when Tempest Form and Karma Breaker's effects are active. And I will say that this special is pretty much a straight up upgrade compared to the Adamant Bolt special just in terms of damage. Adamant Bolt is a really flashy and really cool looking special, but the Titan's Crash special just does more damage from what I can tell. Moving on though, at level 10 we get the next mod called Echo Brace Driver. This is where critical strikes increase the damage dealt by Karma Breaker's damage over time by 5% until the debuff ends or is refreshed. And just keep in mind that Karma Breaker lasts up to 30 to 35 seconds, so this can do a ton of damage within that time frame. But to do it properly, you have to have a lot of crit chance, and that means having some cunning, some discipline, maybe the war pikes in your team using the Savage Bowspring to give you more crit chance, so that is something to keep in mind. And then moving on to the last mod on this list, we have Inertial Fist Guard. So this is where Surge deals 25% more damage just off the bat, and after surging you gain 5% move speed for 8 seconds, and it stacks up to 3 times. So that's pretty good. Just like all these mods are pretty good, but I'm gonna go ahead and rank them from worst to best just from what I can tell and what I can assume. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that Echo Brace Driver is the best mod if you can find a way to get some good crit chance in your build without sacrificing too much damage outside of that. And if you can't find crit chance or you sacrifice too much to get that crit chance, I would rank Cyclonic Strike Plate as the next best or the best mod, depending on those factors. And then the worst mod I would say is going to be Inertial Fist Guard, because Surge doesn't deal all that much damage, and making it do 20% more damage isn't a bad thing. But compared to the other two modifiers, I think that it's just the worst performing overall. But it would be nice to have that movement speed just so you can position yourself a bit more, because Surge is going to be a tool used to position yourself and refresh your mantras, so it's a pretty good time. But let's go ahead and move past all the abilities in the mods and go ahead and look at what you should be crafting when looking at the Strikers. To get started with this, you have to ask yourself, what are you focusing on in Dauntless? Do you want damage, survivability, all that kind of stuff? In my case, I'm going to go ahead and focus on damage, and there are going to be 6 options I would suggest to focus towards in terms of crafting. And those options will be Hellion, Drask, Rezikiri, Shroud, Riftstalker, and Stormclaw. These are my suggestions, and that's because I would suggest these for other weapons too. And the Strikers, if you guys haven't noticed, work in a very similar way to other weapons. And that also includes the unique effects of the weapons and the cell slots. Now, it won't be the same for every single weapon, but it's going to be roughly the same, and that's pretty much all that matters. And if you haven't noticed a trend yet, for the cells for Strikers, it's going to be roughly the same as other weapons. The exception is you might want to bring a bit more crit chance with the Strikers just because they have that one modifier that gives you more damage every time you crit when Karma Breaker is active. And on top of that, you're not going to want to have a ton of attack speed. For the Strikers, having too much attack speed is actually extremely detrimental to the weapon. It's sort of like when you're playing Chain Blades. Having too much attack speed can sort of mess up other features of the weapon. In this case, it can mess up your combos and other important features of the weapon. But outside of attack speed, you're going to want, the same cells as other weapons. You're going to want some Predator, Overpower, Rage Hunter, Aether Hunter on some fights. Just cells like that. But just don't go too ham with the attack speed, and consider bringing crit chance if you're using a certain modifier. And just like you should use Cunning when using a certain modifier, you should also use code OhDough when shopping in a certain store. And that store is called Epic Game Store, or in the in-game Dauntless store, because doing so helps out the young OhDough a very, very great deal, and I appreciated it very much. And also, by the way, the store has gotten a lot of new stuff in it, or a lot of, I would say even old stuff in it, so check it out if you haven't already, because it's got new old emotes, it's got old style kits, all kinds of stuff that you might want to pick up that you couldn't pick up before, but now it's in the store. So, just a little heads up. But that will be the end of this video, guys. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and consider sharing this video, because doing any of those things helps me out a ton. If you like this kind of content, you can subscribe to this channel for more Dauntless content. It's what I do here. And also, if you guys want my in-game flair, it is a Twitch subscriber incentive, so go on over to Twitch and subscribe using Prime, Tier 1, whatever the deal is, gifted, doesn't matter. Doing so, you can get my Twitch flair, but be sure to use !flair in the chat and join the Discord to get my flair. It's a weird process. It'll eventually not be that way. I'm just waiting for a feature to happen again in Dauntless to make it easier on myself. And that is pretty much all I have to say. Thanks again for watching, y'all. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.